This is arguably the most cold hardy pinnate or feather palm you can buy or you can grow. This is also known as the pindo palm. Butia odorata is a scientific name. There are other species of Butia that are quite hardy, but this one seems to be the most cold hardy. As far as cold hardy pinnate palms, it's really going to depend on your location where you live in the world. So in some places, Jubaea chilensis would be your most cold hardy. It's Chilean wine palm. Maybe even Canary Island date palm. They can be quite cold hardy in certain spots, but I think it's safe to say either pindo palm or the Chilean wine palm are the most cold hardy, depending on your spot. So this is a standard Butia odorata, and probably the most cold hardy pinnate palm for those in the southeast US, south central US. And I planted this one around June, beginning of June, and it's done quite well. It got blown around by the hurricane, so it's on a bit of a slant, but there's not much I can do about that. I'm expecting it to start going that way a bit, but real nice palm. These can vary quite a bit. Green, blue, there's even like an icy silvery one. A lot of the ones we get in cultivation could be mutt, a little bit of mixed heritage in them, but this one is doing quite well. It will be quite a large palm in time. I have seen them around here with 20 feet, 30 feet of trunk, and I've actually seen specimens of much older ones. And the cool thing about this is that this will hybridize readily with other pinnate palms. So I have a whole bunch of palms that are going in my yard, and I'm gonna go through them and just give you some options. So this one, I would say it's probably hardy in zone 8. People in zone 7 do grow it, but it will need some help in the coldest weather, at least in the southeast. If you're in the Pacific Northwest, you're more on 8B, 9A is where you're going to want this. I know people in the UK a lot of them struggle with this palm, but they seem to do okay with Jubaea chilensis. So I guess it all depends on your exact location. Here are 4 more pindo palms, Butia odorata, and bought these all from the same place, and a little bit of a difference between them all. Some are a little more, I don't know if it shows up on the camera, but this one is probably the bluest, I would say, of the bunch. It's also the most robust. You can see these other ones are a little bit more, you could almost say lacy, whereas this one is a tank, growing very well. It has bluish on the petioles, and you will see differences amongst them. Like I was mentioning, sometimes you get ones that are very green, sometimes you can get ones that are very blue, and then occasionally you'll see a really silvery one. And those are the hardest to find. This one here, for whatever reason, when I brought it home, it burnt. That one has a little bit of burn too. So even amongst the same species, you get a bit of a difference. You notice this one has a little bit more of a purple. The petiole, the trunk, not quite as thick. And then the old boots, which is, we call these the boots, where the leaf attaches or the petiole attaches to the base, they're dark purple, almost like a fig color. So these are all going in my yard. This one I think is really nice. This one has quite a bit of a brighter green color to it. And then this one here is another very green one, but look, it's got some, maybe a little bit of deficiency, maybe a little burn, but you can see the new fronds are coming out nice. I have fertilized these. I'm on the water on them pretty heavy. So there are 4 of your bog standard pindo palms. Now this palm here is actually a hybrid. This is Butia yatay, which is a different species of Butia. Looks very similar to your standard odorata, and this is crossed with Jubaea chilensis. So the mother palm was Butia yatay, and the the male palm was a Jubaea. You can get the other cross. Usually the Jubaea cross Butia tend to be more finicky when young. But this particular one, you can see it's quite green. It's growing very fast for me. These hybrids, most people report that they do grow faster than either parent and a little bit more cold hardy. So I don't know if I'll ever get to test that here. I'm in zone 9B, but this is, I had 2 of these and I actually killed the first one. I planted it a little too low, didn't amend the soil, and we had just torrential rains in spring and got a problem with the roots and it died. So that was on me. Now, when you do get these hybrids, there is variability. Not every single one looks the same. So that's kind of a fun aspect of it. The one that I killed was silvery, which is a shame because I really like silvery palms, and it was a little more plumose. The fronds were longer. They weren't quite as tough. This one actually, to me, has a lot of Jubaea in it. So that one's in the ground, and it has more than doubled in the maybe 5 or 6 months, 5 months it's been in the ground. So that's a hard one to find, but real nice palm. On to the next palm. So this is actually Butia crossed with the Jubaea chilensis, just like the one I have in the ground, except this one came from a totally different source, and this is either an F2 or an F3 hybrid. And what that means is the beginning cross would have been the Butia cross with the Jubaea. That produced seed. Those palms grew up and they are fertile. So those seeds were harvested from that first generation of hybrid, which would be an F1. And either this came from that, or that F1 grew up, they harvested seeds from that and planted that, and then that one grew up and they harvested seeds. So this is an F2 or an F3 hybrid, so a little bit further down the line. What I can say is this one's quite green. Again, most likely hybrid vigor comes into play here. This palm is supposed to turn quite silvery with time. The adult Butia that was used way back when was a silvery one, so we will see. But what I can tell you is that it's very green bases on this one. And the leaflets, it may be just because it's a bigger palm, but and I know they trimmed some of them. I think they trimmed the brown off before they sent them to me. You can definitely tell on this one. But very stiff leaflets. And yeah, we're gonna see how this one goes. So this is the the newest frond that's coming out. Now, when you get a Jubaea cross with the Butia, so the female palm is the Jubaea, a good indication of what you'll see is the end of each leaflet will come out and it'll be jagged. It's like a hook, and that's a way to tell if the if it's like an F1 Jubaea Butia hybrid. So now we'll go on to some of the other ones. I still have more, believe it or not. All right, and on to the next Butia hybrid. So this is the one I think most people have seen, probably one of the most common ones. This is the mule palm. And so this is a Butia odorata. These, as far as I know, the Butia odorata cross with a queen palm. So that's Cyagrus romanzoffiana. And what it does is the queen palm, that's one of the most common pinnate palms you'll see, but they're really like a 9B palm. And for those of us that are in slightly cooler areas that want that sort of queen look, you can grow Mule. Now, people are having success with them in zone 7. In zone 7, they will need some protection in the in the coldest nights, the coldest days. But in my zone, these are hardy. These were small seedlings. They had about 4 little strap leaves on them when I got them. I don't even think they even have any of those original leaves left. And you can see there's quite a bit of variability. I got kind of two shorter, stumpier ones, and I got these longer ones, which makes you think they're kind of taking after the queen more. This one seems to have a bit of a deficiency. It's a little more yellow. I did fertilize these recently, so I'm hoping that will correct. I have problems with insects here really bad, so I get some, you could call it predation. Happens at night. So I think sometimes it's caterpillars and moths. But so this is the mule palm. They used to be quite readily available, and now not so much, and the prices have really gone up. This one in particular is going pinnate faster than the rest. And generally people grow these as a kind of like a queen palm replacement. And here in Houston, back in 2021, almost all the queens got killed, even ones that were, 20, 30 years old sort of thing. And so now this is the recommended replacement. So mule palms are known to grow exceptionally quick, and these have. I mean, they were just small strap leaf seedlings. These two you would think maybe take after the Butia a little bit more because they're shorter and squatter and they're not quite going pinnate yet, whereas those have the longer, thinner trunks. Some people surmise or hypothesize that the ones that take after the Butia are a little more cold hardy. I don't think there's any definitive data on that yet, but I guess we'll see in time. So not quite big enough to plant out next year. I think I'm going to put them in the ground next year. Gotta find spots for them. So mule palms actually get quite large. They can not only tall, but then they can get a pretty big wingspan. Now on to an uncommon Butia hybrid. So these are Butia yatay crossed with Parajubaea sunkha. And sunkha are a little bit of a palm that grows, they do grow at elevation, but they're a little bit more cold sensitive. And you can see I have two here, same person, same batch, and there's quite a bit of difference. The one on the right is more tightly, you can see everything's more tight and goes up, more of a bluish green, whereas this one is almost even a little yellowish, not really, but compared to that one. And it's very, you can see it's very kind of like leafy. Plumose is the term that we use. And both of them actually have slightly different trunks. So this is the, the hybrid variability coming in. So furry trunk, a little bit narrower. This one's a little bit fatter, and you can see the base of the petioles is a different color, a little bit of blue, a little bit of maroon in here. I think I like this one better. I haven't really looked at these because I have them all kind of jammed together. But this one here, I mean, it's over 4 feet across. So it'll be interesting to try these. Now, how cold hardy are they? I don't know. I think that's the short answer. I do know some people that are growing other Butia hybrids. I don't know if anyone's growing, because you can also get it mixed with Parajubaea torellii, and then sometimes you get it, you can get with the Litocarium. But as far as these ones, the reason I picked them is because sunkha is known, Parajubaea sunkha is known to handle humidity better, tolerates wet conditions more than torellii, which can just up and die on you. And I bought these in Oregon. I brought them with me. These are not easy to find. And so I brought them with me. So I'm a half a zone warmer, but I'm also in a southern zone, so I get a lot more heat. So maybe one more year, I might plant them next year. So we'll be trying those guys out. And here's my final one. For those that have been following my channel, this is the mystery palm. I've had this palm for years. Since I moved here, it has grown exponentially. Didn't know what it was. I thought maybe it was a Washingtonia robusta. It germinated with a batch of Camidori radicalis seeds. Obviously, it's not a Camidori radicalis. I do recycle soil, and in the last couple of months, in the back of my head, I'm thinking that I may have bought some Butia cross Jubaea seeds many years ago, and maybe this is what I'm dealing with. It definitely has a Butia look to it to me. It is a little fine. The leaflets are a little fine on it though. And the thing I like about this one is it does have that kind of purpley, smoky petioles coming out. The older, these older fronds that are longer, this is when I was growing it inside. So it's not as intense as the sun, so they tend to get stretched. But you can see since then, the newer ones are definitely much shorter. So very Butia looking to me. You know, at this point, that's what I'm gonna call it. I'm just gonna say it's a Butia. And with time, as it gets bigger, maybe we'll figure out what it is. But that is my tour of all of my Butia and Butia hybrids. They do actually look, as they get bigger, they do have a differentiated look from one another. So they definitely are worth growing. The reason I have so many is because I know that no matter how cold it gets here, I don't have to worry about them. I'm not gonna have to protect them. I'm just gonna leave them. So these are palms that will be forming a lot of the, you know, kind of evergreen backbone of my garden. I do have queen palms, and those ones, you know, a little bit iffy on those. So these will always be there, and that's why I have so many. Here's a look at my herd of Butia and Butia hybrids. That's a dozen palms there, and I have 2 more in the ground, so I think I'm done.